Hi, thank you all for coming and listening to my final speech. Throughout the semester, we have looked at the effective tool that is communication. Communication itself is incredibly important, as it is the foundation of our language, which runs our relationships between family, friends, colleagues, and society itself. In my speech today, I will be discussing communication within the confines of familial relationship along with romantic relationships and why we should care. According to Law Insider, familial relationship can be defined as any person who is related as a spouse or domestic partner by blood or by adoption, parent child, brother or sister, aunt or uncle, niece or nephew, grandparent, grandchild, father in law, mother in law, son in law, daughter in law, stepfather, stepmother, stepson, stepdaughter, stepbrother, stepsister, or and finally half brother or half sister. Effective communication is essential between family members in order for the family to maintain a healthy dynamic and relationship. This entails not just being able to speak effectively, but also to listen. Listening and understanding what the family member is trying to say is perhaps the most important skill we can have, especially during today's political climate. Effective communication also allows for the ability for people to solve and move past serious arguments and problems that are unfortunately unavoidable amongst family members. Communication, both nonverbal and verbal, is essential for a healthy family, and is a skill that will help solve future problems. Moving on from types of communication, let us now talk about styles of communication. According to the Human Development Department at Virginia Tech, there are four different types of communication: clear and direct, masked and direct, clear and indirect, masked and direct, and masked and indirect. Clear and direct is what it sounds like. It's when communication occurs that is stated plainly and directly to the appropriate family member. An example of this could be when a mother says to their daughter that they are disappointed that they did not clean their room without being reminded. This style of communication is the healthiest form of communication. Clear and indirect, meanwhile, is when the message is clear, but it is not directed to the appropriate person. If we went back and use our mother-daughter example again, an example of this style of communication can be when the mother says aloud, "It's disappointing when people forget to do their chores." In this message, the daughter might not know that the mother is referring to her. Masked and direct communication is when the content of the message is not clear, but it is said to the correct family member. An example of this can be between a father and a son, with the father stating, "Son, people just don't work as hard as they used to." Finally, masked and indirect communication occurs when neither the content of the message is clear or spoken to the appropriate person or family member. An example of this could be when a parent says aloud to anyone who is listening, "The youth of today are very lazy." Understanding these four styles of communication is essential to communicating effectively and building healthy familial bonds. Now, let's focus to different types of communication. Within familial relationships, there are two types of communication that are prevalent. Number one is instrumental. Instrumental communication is when a family member, such as a parent, tells their child that they will pick them up from school. This information is factual and is used to conduct family functions. The second type of communication is affective communication with an A. This is the ability of individual family members to express emotions in front of one another, such as joy, anger, and sadness. These two types of communication are both essential to a healthy family. Having a healthy family relationship is extremely important, but there is another relationship that demands attention as well. Besides being important for the family, effective communication also provides a more stable foundation for intimate romantic relationships. Research conducted by members of the Human Development Department at Virginia Tech highlights that poor communication leads to an increase in marriage and couples counseling, lack of ability to get through arguments in a constructive manner, as well as a lack of intimacy. This can eventually lead to separation and divorce, as well as behavioral problems amongst children. Having a healthy, intimate relationship can also prevent violent arguments, counseling divorce, and the implementation of poor behavioral problems amongst children. In short, communication is important, particularly between family members and romantic relationships. Having a family member having a healthy relationship built on trust, effective communication can provide a more stable foundation for when tragedies, accidents, problems, and good news arise. Thank you for listening today.